1 second while we get this thing moving, making sure everybody's streaming. All right. Yeah, almost there. Hey, YouTubers, how are you? We're going to talk in a moment about how to price your online course. That's the key component. All right. Hey there, my name is Ryan Kingsline. And you know what? Why don't we do this? Why don't we hit record? Yeah. All right, good. So, hey, my name is Ryan Kingsline. All right, now, this video, what are we going to do in this video? You might have noticed I've been broadcasting a lot, or I've got a lot of videos out there that I've been talking about this one topic, how to kind of launch online courses and how to build a business around online courses. Over the last few years, I've been able to launch, I think it's like 100, almost 100 online classes. And through that, generate about $6.5 million in revenue. A key component to being able to do that kind of revenue is understanding how to price your course. So that's what I want to walk through today, because I've got a lot of questions from people. And it's an understandable question because there's problems that we run into. Like, for example, we might launch and then we just don't get enough. We don't get enough revenue each month to be able to quit our day job. And so then these guys start to compete with each other and it becomes problematic, right? And sometimes, most of the time, we'll choose certainty in the day job and we have to figure out how to set up the online classes and our business so that we can quit the day job, we can stop the freelancing, and we can focus on building this business of providing value to our community and sharing our mission in this world. Let me make sure Windows does not update. All right, so let me do this. Head over to my screen, and right here you'll see that what I want you to do, if you haven't done it already, you go to ryankingsline.com and you make sure you enter your name, your email here so that you can be signed up for the webinar. The webinar where I'm going to teach you the 7 steps to building an online course and a business around that. Today we're going to take a look at this. These are all the slides, the areas that I'm going to show you, and we're really going to be talking about pricing and pricing as identity, okay? A lot of times people say pricing is positioning, and it is positioning. But first, before it becomes positioning, you have to understand that pricing is identity. And it's very easy to understand that if you look at handbags. For example, this handbag has a whole bunch of L's and V's on top of it, and if you go down to the Louis Vuitton store, it's going to cost you about $2,000, $2,500 to get it. You go over to Sears or Target, you can get a handbag that's shaped almost exactly alike and is going to cost you $25. What's the difference between these two? Is it better? Is the Louis Vuitton better? Well, the people that pay $2,500 are definitely going to say it's better. But if you were to get 2 people in the room and you're going to say, hey, the one who chose it for $2,500, is it better? Or the one who chose it for $25, is it better? Each one is going to say it's better. Because at the end of the day, pricing is identity. The Mercedes that my wife drives, is it built in the exact same Ford factory that all the other Ford cars are built in? Yes. Did it cost a bit more? Yes. Because at the end of the day, pricing becomes identity and people self-select. That's key to understand, because when we think about pricing, remember it is positioning. And really the question that we are answering in our business is type of customer. You're positioning yourself for the type of customer. That doesn't mean you just set the price at $1,000 and you're done. You know, a Louis Vuitton bag, has a lot of marketing that supports that. They have partnerships, they bring in models, they bring in celebrity engagements, celebrities, models, fashion, magazines, right? They position themselves both through their pricing and their partnerships to be able to be worth $2,500, whereas that one that you got over there at Target might have been made in the same factory, doesn't have the LVs on it, and doesn't have any of the positioning or any of the partners, but it's still fully functional. Which one do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And I'll share with you, hopefully I'll share with you a little story about my decision on this and where that ultimately went. Okay, so we got to keep in mind that pricing is a choice. It is a choice that you make, and it is also your confidence in yourself and your product. It is also a level of commitment that you might have. These are all things that we got to keep in mind. The way that I like to think about it is like this. Okay, pricing in many ways is a commitment, but it's not a proportional commitment. And that's what's important, because the difference comes in positioning. Remember, one handbag, they might both be made in the same place, but one's made with LVs on it and the other one's not. One costs $2,500, one $25. The difference is commitment. Louis Vuitton's committed to their brand, so they're dealing with partnerships and they got all this stuff involved in it. Okay, but the one that you buy at Target's not committed to the brand. Are you committed to your brand? Are you committed to doing the work that you need to do, right? Because if we look at this, you can start a product that's $25, okay? And this could be like, say, 1 hour, or it could be 3 hours of content. Or you could be really generous and you could say, hey, I'm gonna make this 7 hours of content and voila. Okay, we're gonna make that a $25 product. Okay, or you could put together a $200 product and you could say, hey, I'm gonna give you, I don't know, let's say 15 hours. Or let's just skip the $698 because that can be a discount of the $997. And let's say you could do a $997 10-week class that's essentially 30 hours of content plus some community. Now, what's the difference between a $997 class and a $1997? This $1997, I've taken $1997s that are 10 weeks that have essentially 30 hours of content, that have community. So what's the difference? What gives? What's the value? What's the promise? Can I do something that is worth $2,000 once I'm done with that product? Can I turn that $2,000 investment into something worthwhile? That's where things start to change. Can I take a $997 class and turn it into an investment that makes a difference? Absolutely. But the $1997, what I'm essentially doing is positioning my class as an investment for this person that's going to give them X. And that's what we have to decide, right? But the key thing to keep in mind is that in order for you to go from $997 to $1997, do I have to work more? Do I have to, what is it that I have to do to provide value? So let's take a look at this. Pricing is value. It is not work. That's what's important to keep in mind, because you and I, we think, this is us, this is our mind because we're the experts. We think, hey, in order to, I don't know, let's say in order to start a business creating online courses, which is what I'm talking about today, I'm gonna have to teach you how to create a course, launch a course, right? And in launching a course, there's ads, there's funnels, okay? There's copy, you know, there's a million different things. Then I'm going to teach you how to run a course, right? These are all things that I'm going to do, okay? But not only do you have to do X and Y, but you're also going to have to take a look at the relaunch. You're going to have to take a look at hiring people. You're going to have to take a look at taxes and setting things up. You're going to have to take a look at consultants, right? There's a whole host of other things that I do. I do X, Y, and Z in the business. But But somebody here is looking and they're thinking, hey, okay, man, finally someone is going to teach me X. Someone's finally going to teach me how to create online courses. Yay. So in this course, that's going to be my focus. And you have to keep in mind that the key to this and the key to success is creating this value ladder. Because at the end of the day, class X is what people want. You know that they're going to need Y and Z at some point in their career, and our tendency is to give people all that stuff up front, but you have to keep in mind that people are interested in value as they define value. That's really important to understand. So all of this other stuff, Y and Z, this becomes part of our value ladder, right? And this figures into pricing when we look at this next step, which is rule number 3 or 4 here. Value is pricing, right? So pricing is value and value is pricing. And the reason why I state this is because you and I, we tend to be givers, right? We want to give, but giving costs. And in order for you to be in a position to continue to give to people, you have to be able to structure this in a way that it supports you. And so the solution to it is to make sure that you create a pricing ladder, which means that class X might be $200. Class Y might be $1,000. Class Z might be $19.97. So for example, this might be an inner circle, right? And in this inner circle, you might have weekly meetings, okay? Then, you know, it's kind of like a group weekly meetings where everybody works through their problems and goes on from there. This $10,000, this might be one-on-one for 12 weeks. And in there, you know, somebody's getting one-on-one feedback and they're getting help on exactly their problem. Okay, that amounts to about $3K a month, about $3,333. Okay, I've easily paid that before for coaching. $19,997, I've paid that before for classes that have this kind of inner circle behavior to them and very active, very supportive, because it's a great investment. I've also paid this. Okay, but you have to, as you're thinking about this, you have to think not just in terms of one product, you have to think in terms of your pricing ladder. And we're going to get to that here in a little second. But let me walk you through my boot camps. Okay, because right now I have a product that costs about $3,000. Okay, and my goal in this product is to get 10 people into it. Sometimes we get more, sometimes we get less. It has 2 weekly meetings because it's a boot camp. I want people to grow fast. So we meet twice a week. On top of that, there's once a week we do an interview or a hot seat. In fact, right after this, I'm going to jump right into a hot seat with people and do crits of work. Then there's once weekly office hours for about 2 hours, right? And then it's professional mentors involved in it. And all of that is what they get for 16 weeks. That's value, but that's also expensive. You know, very expensive. You think about this, this is 6 hours. This is another 2 hours usually with setup and all of that different stuff. So now you got 8 hours and then the office hours. So you got 10 hours. So you got 10 hours a week. And let's say that's charged out at, I don't know, $100 an hour. That's $1,000 a week in expenses just on making this stuff happen. You multiply that by 16. That costs me somewhere around $16,000 per boot camp to be able to produce that level of quality. And that's not the equipment, that's not the staff, that's nothing else, right? So at the end of the day, the boot camps add enormous value, and I can only do that because I have built a pricing into it that supports it, that allows that to still happen. I can still spend $16,000, it's actually closer to $20,000 per boot camp, on making that happen and give value to these people, all because I thought of my pricing ladder. Now, the key thing to understanding this and how you build pricing is looking at this problem that happens with a lot of the people I know. they get into this kind of like 3K ceiling because they'll do like a $25 product and they'll get like 100 people, you know, a month. And so they get about $2,500. Maybe they try things out. They get a little bit, you know, they get a little jumpy and they're like, I'm going to charge a little more. So they come in and they create a $200 product. The conversion rate drops down and they're still somewhere around 3,000. And that's because there is a massive gap between this $197 or $200 product and this next product. And this is what's really important to understand about pricing and who you want to be, where you want to be, and how you want to position yourself. Okay, this $200 product can scale, but it doesn't scale in all industries. But $997 or $1,000 for a 10-week class, that is something that I have done for 8 years plus and has generated $6.5 million in revenue for me and my partners, and has provided for the family I have today living in beautiful Laguna Beach and with my kids in a fantastic school district, which is why we moved to Laguna Beach, and keep them happy and motivated and great summers. It's just really a fantastic life we have here. But all of this came from making sure that I set my pricing in a way that supports it. Okay, now I'm going to give you an example of a way that you can kind of do this, because all of these are price points that attract customers. And if you do it right, you can do all of them at the same time. So you can do a $25 product, just don't stay there. And let's say you get 100 people a month, and over a year, that's $30,000. Okay, not enough to quit your day job if you're anywhere in the States, really. $200 product, 20 of those, I don't know, maybe let's say we do this $200 product and we try to get 20 people in that every month for a month. Okay, again, $4,100, not enough to quit your day job, but if you do that every single month, it's a good amount, you know, because the thing that you have to keep in mind about all of these numbers is taxes. Not only taxes, but also credit card processing fees, which can be like 5% or less, right? Taxes, which right off the bat are about 20%, depends on how your expenses work, sometimes 30, right? So you're not getting 41, and you're not even getting what an employee would get who makes 41. You're actually getting probably about 2/3 of that after your taxes and all the expenses and everything else, especially if you're in California where you actually pay a state tax and a federal tax. But, you know, that's all stuff that you have to keep in mind. Now, add in a $1,000 class that you're able to get 20 people in, and you get that. You only launch that class 4 times a year. Only 4 times a year. And you get $80,000, all right? Great, that's it. I'm gonna quit my day job. I'm into this. Let's make this happen. Let's focus on more students as we can. But hey, $80,000, I can work that, right? Now, that's true, you can work that. But if you've also done this and the $200, then look at what you got now. You actually have double. You have 30,000 plus 41 is 71 plus 79,000. Right there alone, you know, let's just get rid of that number. You have $140,000 roughly. Am I right? I think I'm right. Math's not my thing. That number before doesn't look accurate. So 140,000. Now you add in this. You add in this special coaching, these masterminds. You just keep adding to what you offer. Don't stop. Always expand. And let's say you do those masterminds, you get 20 people in a mastermind, or I think I set that number to 10. Let's say you get 10 people in a mastermind and you only do that mastermind 4 times a year. Now you're generating 70 or 80, and so you're adding on top of that. So now it's actually $210,000, a little bit more. Now you're talking business. Now you're talking something where you can hire. Now you're talking something where you can, you can deal with the taxes more appropriately. You can start to consider expanding and start to get into the higher level consultants that are going to figure out how do you get more than 10? How do you get more than 20, right? You can expand because you have the resources to make that happen. Let me zoom all the way up. So, pricing is positioning. It is, okay? It's also identity. It's also commitment, however that's spelled. It's also value that you offer to other people. And it's also going to be the value they offer to you. The things to consider is that you don't want to be in just the top 5%. If you can, you want to be in the top 1%, right? Because you're committed to your craft. You are going to be here doing this no matter what. So if you're going to be here doing this no matter what, then why don't you do this at the 1% level, at the top 1%? There's one caveat here that everybody brings up, and they say, hey, cheap scales. Because if I got $25 package and I get 1,000 people into it, yay, now I got $25,000, right? Am I right? Yeah, I'm right. So I got $25,000. Yay, fantastic. But you got to repeat that 1,000 people every single month just to make that. Whereas if you were to have a $1,000 product, all you need is 25 people to make $25,000. That is something that's more achievable for most of us and in most of our markets. But you have to commit to be in the top 1%, which is, are you committed to adding that value? Are you committed to positioning yourself in that position? Now, cheap is cheap. It does scale, right? Lynda.com, $20 a month. They sold for $1.5 billion. Digital tutors, this is my personal story. When I first started, in fact, take the camera up here. When I first started, Digital Tutors, this was a program that was out there. I started this thing, ZBrush Workshops, and Digital Tutors was producing content, but their content quality was really low. The bar was really low. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna produce amazing, solid content, right? Which is ultimately the perfect decision for me, but I had a moment of doubt. It's actually like a week of doubt. It's like a month of, it was a bit of doubt, all right? There was a lot of doubt that happened. But I'm out there and I'm like, okay, these are my competition. I'm gonna do these like $600 classes. I wasn't confident to do $1,000 yet, and I'm gonna just blow them away. Okay, within a couple of years, they sold for $45 million. And you can bet your ass, in the back of my mind, it wasn't in the back of my mind, it was the front of my mind. It was like, that would have gone a long way. 45 million. Now it was split between two brothers, so I don't know exactly what their split was, but let's say if my take between a couple of people was, $20 million. Yeah. But here's the deal. Throughout the time that I've been doing this, I've generated $6.5 million. My family is not wanted for anything that we've wanted to do. Sometimes I have to spend more time on the business. A lot of times I get to spend less, right? I've been able to generate $6.5 million in the time that we've been doing this. That's a pretty awesome number. And it comes down to understanding whether or not you want to do one of two types of business. So if you're looking at my screen here, the big decision that I made, I wasn't really aware of it, was between lifestyle business or a venture capital business. Digital Tutors and Lynda, these were all venture. So they were all built to scale. And all you got to do is read up on people's lives that develop venture capital or scalable businesses like this. It's a very intense journey. But I internally was very focused on my family. I wanted a lifestyle business. And through that lifestyle business, I've generated a decent amount of revenue for my partners, right, who share very high percentage in terms of the commitment, and for my own classes. I've been able to do really well for everybody involved, including my family, because I chose a lifestyle lifestyle business. All right. So I want you to sign up for the webinar, Business to the Power of You, okay, at ryankingsline.com. This is all about building a business around you. Not a business that you're going to scale and you're going to, turn into a unicorn that's going to be valued at $1 billion while you lose everything around you. This is about building a business that supports you and supports your life and supports your goals and supports what you find valuable today. Not 2 years from now, not 20 years from now, but today. How do I create a business around who I am that allows me to live in Laguna Beach at top of the world in a house my wife loves, give her the car that she wants, put my kids in the right school district that really just, every day, it's just amazing to me what they do. We could not have chosen a better school district. What are the decisions that you make as a person, as a creative, as a creator, that's going to allow you to create the business on your terms? That's what I want to share with you. That's what I'm most proud of that I've been able to do. And I think that's what's going to give the most value to you in your life, because it's also what very few people are talking about. Most people talk about how to take a business and scale it up, right? And yes, definitely scale it up, but not at the expense of having the life that you want and that beautiful kind of work-life balance. That's what we want to do. And you can get that by learning how to turn all of your knowledge and your skills into very specific online courses that are packaged, that are positioned, that have all the curriculum in place, that have all the marketing and all the, somebody comes in, they know exactly what they're going to get, they know exactly why it's valuable, and they connect immediately to that. If you can build these courses, then you can build a life that supports who you want to be. All right? Head over to ryankingsline.com, sign up to learn more about it. You're going to get all these videos that I've been doing all week long, and then also get signed up for the webinar, which is going to be Thursday, depending on when you're watching this. It's going to be Thursday. We're going to go live. We're going to launch. I look forward to seeing you guys there at the webinar. Take care. I got to head off and head to a class. All right. See ya.